Hello everyone, I'm Mami at NEWTips piano series. This is part 2 of playing fast passages. Let's quickly recap what we said last time. We have been talking about how to play with the blurry fingers so fast that you need to be an expert in the field to distinguish the movement of each finger. In part 1 of how to play fast, we concentrated on the physical side of building nimble fingers, and we said the ability to release unnecessary tension and independence and strength of fingers are essential in fast passage works. And I showed you the way I learned to play, which was a game changer for my pianistic development. I also have a separate video describing the exercise you could do using an egg away from the piano, and I will leave the links to both videos in the description below. And if you have enjoyed my videos and have found them useful, please subscribe to my channel. So here is part 2 of how to play fast episode. But actually, I think I've already said the most important things in part 1 and I'm not quite sure why I'm doing part 2. Except that there's one thing I want to say, and that is how you think matters. And I thought I would demonstrate with a few musical examples, including Ravel's Scarborough and Schiffer's version of The Flight of the Bumblebee. So do watch until the end. Getting rid of beats can help you play fast. This is The Flight of Bumblebee, the more difficult octaves version. I think the danger of this is to sound like kind of thinly chopping cabbage. Like you can set your metronome to a quaver equals 130 or something like that, and gradually quicker every day. But eventually you want to think in bigger units, so becomes and then and that's quicker than thinking. I found a passage in Kazuo Ishiguro's novel that seems to describe exactly what should happen when you play the piano, which made me very excited, so I want to share it with you. There's a scene in The Buried Giant by Kazuo Ishiguro which relates to the master swordsman facing up. By the way, if you haven't read this book, what the hell are you doing watching this silly piano lesson video? You better read this book instead. I warn you, what I'm going to read now is slightly gruesome as it relates to the fighting of warriors with swords.
Even as my blade travels through one opponent, I must in my thought prepare the cut that will follow. Now if my edge isn't sharp, so, and the blade's passage slowed even a tiny instant, snagged in bone or dawdling through the tangles of a man's insides, I will surely be late for the next cut, and on such may hang victory or defeat.
You have to be slightly ahead in your thoughts than when you're playing, otherwise it becomes fatal. Not to get caught up in the tangles of inside of a body or tangle of notes, but keep your blade or your mind sharp and be ready for the next move a split second before. I will show you an example. This is from Ravel's Scarborough, and I found this passage hard to play in time. This is what happens in the left hand, and it is natural to count 1 in a bar. 1, 1, 1. But played at full speed, when the pattern changes in the 4th bar, it can just become a fumble. And I noticed that the phrase actually ends here, and I decided to insert a little gap there and treat the last 4 semiquavers as a separate thing. It is only a split second gap, but it's enough to give the brain time to refocus for the next cut, and in turn give the chance for this fellow to speak before he dies. practicing easier pieces as well. Divide the passage into small compartments. Know where you're going to start, but more crucially, where you're going to stop, and not even a single note added to the mental picture. Be exacting as to which note belongs to which compartment. You may think it contradicts with what I said at the beginning about thinking in long lines, but actually it doesn't. It matters how a phrase is organized in your head, the speed of your thoughts, and to facilitate this, you work in small chunks until it flows in a bigger, sweeping gesture. Do you know why practicing scales with dotted rhythms works? The reason is that it gives the time for the brain to focus and control the next sound by stopping momentarily. In part 1 I said you must practice slowly, but slow practice has no use unless you're thinking quickly and being ready for the next move. And it's a disaster if the brain is playing catch up. Think 10 times and play once, Franz Liszt. If you try this in real life, thinking 10 times before action, I think I get nothing done. I believe in acting before thinking. Do it anyway and think later. It saves time. But of course, Franz Liszt knew everything about piano playing. He was one of the greatest pianists ever in the history of music, and he is right when he says think 10 times and play once. You must have a purpose behind every note you play, that you have conceived the kind of sound you want before making a sound. Therefore, my motto for this year is to act before thinking in my daily life, but to think before playing in the practice sessions. Again, I break up the phrase down to small compartments. While pausing, I'm mentally prepared where I'm going next. So I'm going to there, and think, and then 2 together. And then eventually. I think the quickest way to improve your technique is actually to have the sound you want in your head first, and your body will find a way of producing that sound. I showed you the way to make your fingers physically strong in part 1, and that is of utmost importance, but ultimately the desire to convey must come first. Don't play anything until you have thought about it first. Think 10 times and play once. When practicing, pause between phrases to give the brain time to focus on what's coming. The brain must always be slightly ahead until the moment comes when you don't have to consciously control and everything flows. And thinking in longer lines and getting rid of small beats help you play faster and more fluently. Thank you very much for watching until the end, and thank you for your support to this channel. Please subscribe to this channel so you will know when my next video is uploaded, and it would also give me encouragement to continue. If you have any questions or if you want to request a topic that can be covered in this series, do comment in the comment section below. I will see you next time. Have a good practice. Bye!